Welcome to The Explainer. Okay, a secret deal between the US and Iran is suddenly back on the table, but this time there's a surprise player running the show. Today, we're diving into why Pakistan is right at the center of this incredibly high-stakes diplomatic push that could honestly reshape the entire Middle East.
So, it all kicks off with this really unexpected visit. Pakistan's army chief, General Asim Munir, just lands in Tehran. And his arrival immediately sent shockwaves, sparking questions all over the globe. Because, let's be clear, this was no ordinary diplomatic trip.
And we soon found out why. This wasn't a solo mission. Not even close. It was part of a very carefully coordinated play, a two-front diplomatic effort with some extremely powerful interests pulling the strings behind the scenes. Think of it like a split-screen strategy, right? On one side, you have General Munir talking directly with the Iranians in Tehran. At the very same time, his Prime Minister, Shahbaz Sharif, is in Saudi Arabia for talks, with more stops planned around the Gulf. So, why this two-pronged approach? Well, the answer lies in what happened just before all this went down.
The reason for all this urgency is directly tied to the first round of secret talks between the United States and Iran, which, believe it or not, took place in Islamabad, Pakistan.
Now, according to sources from the Iranian side, they were on the verge of signing a deal, a memorandum of understanding. They were that close. But then it all just collapsed. The U.S. envoy holds this bizarrely short 4-minute press conference, says the U.S. position has been put in writing, and then just declares the ball is in Iran's court, before packing up and leaving.
So what's different now? Well, this new diplomatic push seems to be driven directly by former President Donald Trump, who's been signaling a really strong desire to lock in a comprehensive deal, and to do it fast.
Just before General Munir's visit, Trump made this incredibly bold statement, building up all this anticipation for some kind of major breakthrough. And his team started floating a very specific term to describe what they were actually aiming for.
And that term, grand bargain, that's a huge deal. It's a major signal. It implies a strategic shift away from just applying pressure. It means the U.S. recognizes that to get what it wants, it has to be ready to give Iran something significant in return. It's a two-way street.
And this brings us right back to Pakistan's critical role here. They're not just a neutral host for these talks. They are acting as the central go-between, executing a super complex diplomatic maneuver on behalf of the U.S. So here's how this whole strategy works. General Munir's job in Tehran is to do the groundwork, to really understand Iran's position on the U.S. offer, and smooth out all the differences before another big meeting. The goal is to make the next summit a signing ceremony, not another negotiation. And at the same time, Prime Minister Sharif is managing the other side of the equation. He's reassuring U.S. allies in the Gulf that a deal with their biggest rival, Iran, won't come at their expense.
Of course, none of this matters if Iran doesn't agree. And Iran is coming at this with a ton of deep-seated distrust and a really complex, and you could say uncertain, internal power structure.
Yeah, this is a huge wild card. Who is actually calling the shots in Iran right now? The newly appointed Supreme Leader, Mujtaba Khamenei, had a recent injury, and there's all this speculation about his condition and his ability to really govern. Some analysts think General Munir's visit is partly a fact-finding mission to figure out who truly has the authority to make the final call in Tehran.
And this really gets to the core of the challenge: trust. Iran has a long memory. They feel like they've been deceived before, and they are absolute masters of negotiation who play the long game. The idea that they'll be rushed into a deal by an administration that has broken agreements in the past, that's highly, highly unlikely.
So what are the actual sticking points? The negotiations really boil down to these 3 key issues that made the last round of talks fail. First, control of the vital Strait of Hormuz. Second, the future of Iran's nuclear program. And third, the release of billions and billions of dollars in frozen Iranian assets.
So, with all these pieces in motion, a determined U.S. administration, a cautious Iran, and Pakistan trying to mediate the whole thing, the stakes for the entire world could not possibly be higher.
The outcome here is going to have immediate global consequences. Success could mean de-escalation and the reopening of a critical waterway for global trade. Failure? That means continued instability, volatile energy prices, and the ever-present, terrifying risk of this conflict getting much, much wider.
Ultimately, everything hangs in the balance. This entire effort rests on such a fragile foundation, caught between the potential for a truly historic peace agreement and the deep-seated mistrust born from years of deception.
The question now is, which one will win out?